Conspiracies, government cover-ups, Earth mysteries, monster cryptids.
Hospital report as pride and dignity. Stop the New World Order. Welcome to HPANWO TV and welcome to this, the 92nd reply to comments video. This is the 92nd of these series of videos in which I reply to your comments, which is why they have that title. The reason I make these videos is because I simply don't have time to reply to you all by text, but I do feel obliged to give you some kind of reply because you, my viewers, often comment on my videos and you sometimes leave long, detailed comments. Some of them are very appreciative, some of them are well thought out and asking me direct questions. And I therefore feel I ought to say something back. I feel it's a duty, but I don't have time. I don't have time to type out replies to all your comments. It's too many for a channel so popular as mine. So I make these videos. Now you may think to yourself, Ben, yeah, this is a 9-hour video where you reply to comments. I only want to reply to one comment. I'm not going to watch a 9-hour video for that reason, for just that. Well, you don't have to, for two reasons. Firstly, I will put a reply comment, a template underneath the comment I'm replying to you with a timestamp, which will tell you to within the nearest hour when I'll be replying to the comment that is in question. Secondly, my comments reply videos are not 9 hours anymore. They used to be, because I used to do them about every 2 months or something. Now I do them much more regularly. I try to do them every fortnight, depending on the number of uploads I do or the number of live streams and other videos. I try to do them once every 2 weeks. So they're not 9 hours anymore. They're usually just over 2 hours. So that's not so bad, is it? That's not so bad. So what I'll do is we'll start straight away. So I'll go over to the last comment that was posted before the last comments reply video was finished, and it is on reply, appropriately, it's on reply to comments 91, and it's John Nolan. And he says, Nick Pope was on Whitley's show this week. He was boring as usual. All right, this is Whitley Strieber, yeah. I forgot what his show's called now. Is it The Undiscovered Country or something like that? I can't remember. But anyway, I do watch it occasionally. And I did watch a little bit of this one with Nick Pope. Boring as usual. Yeah, Nick Pope, he's now really just repeating himself a lot now. And he has this rather non-committed attitude where you can kind of get the feeling that he wants to run with the fox and chase with the hounds. And you should never trust somebody like that. Someone who sits on the fence and plays both sides and pretends to be a friend no matter what and things like that. And I don't trust people like that. And of course, there's only a limited number of things he talks about. Now, to be honest, when I saw him at Stairway to the Stars, he was a little bit original, and I did give him credit for that. But on this particular show with Whitley, the actual, I didn't watch all of it, to be honest, but I watched the first half hour or so, and I thought, what's this Pope doing? This Pope doing his post things. We can't rule it out, Whitley. I can neither confirm nor deny this. Oh. So yeah, I've had more interesting things to watch than that. Hugo Rune says on reply to comments 91, I'm looking forward to this. Thanks, Ben. You're welcome, Hugo. I hope you enjoy it. I really do. Oh, excuse me. I think I've got a cough coming on. And we have here on reply to comments 91, S. Brayman says, talking about graffiti, where I live, someone's been drawing large penises on various walls, etc. Very odd. Oh, right. The dick drawing is not exactly actually odd. S. Brayman, I find it's the most common kind of graffiti you get. There's even one on Hadrian's Wall that was carved there like in the 3rd century or something. It's crazy. Something's never changed, but yeah, I mean, usually you get them like people draw sort of. In my hospital, it was a couple of domestics who went around drawing little ones on the corners of on the corners of all the signs in the lift. You'd have this little dick. There's a pair of balls there like that, and this little dick like that, which is only about that long, And as I said, if they're so stupid doing that, I'm sure that's a life-size self-portrait. But it's a pity they can't be more creative, like the ones in Oxford. Reply to comments 91, Coda, who says again, Froome Tea Common Trail, deep joy, oh yes. I know, Coda, you love your Unwinese, replies to Unwinese, and the fact that I'm starting to learn the language simply from talking to you. Did I show you this, actually? I think I might have done, if I remember rightly. I've got something to show you anyway, if I didn't. Right, Stanley Unwin's gravestone. I don't know if you've seen this. Let me just find a good picture of it. Yeah, this is it. I think I might have showed you. Anyway, here it is. There we are. In loving memory of Stanley Unwin, engineer and entertainer in radio, television and films, 7th of the 6th, 1911 to 12/1/2002, and his dear wife Frances Anne, 23rd of the 9th, 1916 to the 2nd of the 11th, 1993. Reuniting in their heavenly abode, deep joy. Oh, I see. Yeah, reuniting in the heavenly abode, deep joy. I think I might have shown you that, but it's lovely, isn't it? That's a lovely thing. That's a lovely thing to put on a gravestone, something in his own dialect that he created for fun. Hugo Rune says on reply to comments 91, hashish is good. I used it before I was introduced to cannabis. First in the army, but later in my travels. Honest, hashish is brilliant, but I can't grow it myself. Thanks, Ben. Grow is in like inverted commas. You're welcome, Hugo. But honestly, is this what the army is this what soldiers do in the army? I mean, God blimey, it's like, presumably you did this on the quiet, otherwise I imagine you've been slung out. Goodness me, I mean, is it, honestly, do the squaddies regularly imbibe various chemicals? Honestly, I know in Vietnam they used to give them cannabis because it actually improved their senses. They would hear and see more intently. Yeah. Reply to comments 91, Hugo Rune. Sigh, I remember Tok, my Alsatian wolf, who chose me to live her final years with. Oh, Hugo Rune, Tok. Tok was the dog from, what was that? The Phantom Tollbooth. I remember that book. All the kids at my school loved that book. Yeah. Reply to comments 91, Coda again. Ben Loader, don't be all a Huffalo Dowder about Joanzy Infidel, all scrubble it around the cavaloders there. Hang on, what's that? Ben Loader, I think I know what that means. Don't be all Huffalo Dowder about Jonesy Indifol, Joanzy Indifol, all scrubble it around in the cave loaders there. Oh, right, cave. Joanzy Indifol, scrubble it around in the cave loaders there. Oh, Indiana Jones in the cave loaders. Oh, that's caves. Right, yeah, we're talking Indiana Jones, weren't we? It says later on, look here, there is a deeply joyful telebocker serialode of the young Indifol Jonesy, starring the offspringit of Bondley Jamers actor Connolly Shawnloader. Deep joy. Right. Yes, it's Jason Connolly. Yeah, that's right. I get it now. There is a deeply joyful teleblocker. That means a really good TV show. A teleblocker serialode, TV serial. The young Indiana Jones, starring the offspringit. I guess that's the offspring of Bondley James actor, James Bond actor Connolly Shawnloader, Sean Connery. Deep joy. Yeah, it's Jason Connolly. It's Jason Connolly, isn't it? Connery. Jason Connery. He's a young Indiana Jones. Oh, right, and Hugo Rune says, funny enough, Sean Connery, of course, plays Indy's dad, doesn't he? He plays Indy's dad in the film I saw on the plane, The Last Crusade. It took me so long to watch that film. Anyway, Hugo Rune says on reply to comments 91, come on folks, press that like button. Thanks, Hugo. And Coda says underneath, all pound it and shuffle most the algorithms there. Oh yes, quite so. Quite so. Pound it and shuffle the algorithms, absolutely. The best you can with my shadow band channel. Yes, Bandly Shadowload, I think is the word you use. Reply to comments 91. Coda says again, well, that's all clarified there. That's all clarified. You are all Huffalo Dowder. That name again, Huffalo Dowder. You are all with the High Brainbocker and Bookie Learnage, Astrofrail, Bryle Coxloader. All right. You're something, I think, in a huff, I think that means. With the High Brainbocker, the Brainy and Bookie Learnage, learning from books. Astrofrail, astronomer. Brian Cox, yeah. Coda, Brian Cox is not an astronomer. He is a physicist. He's a particle physicist. He gets to present all these astronomy programs and other programs. Like, for example, he's the new presenter of the new Life on Earth, and he got endorsed from Richard Attenborough, the original presenter of the original series, which is really good. He called Cox his natural successor. This is even though Cox is not a biologist. Cox is, like I say, a particle physicist. And what's more, it's interesting watching Stargazing Live where he co-hosts it with Dara O'Brien. Now Dara O'Brien is an astronomer, yet he has to play second fiddle. He has to play second fiddle to this shiny teeth, silky haired little fresh faced gimp. I wonder how he feels about that. I really do. Coda carries on. Did he steal your monetary lunches or something? Did he steal? Did he steal my lunch money? No, but he does. Oh, blimey. I'm sure you may have watched my parodies of him. He's just such an arrogant, sort of like self-obsessed, obnoxious tosser. And he's been made a star by the BBC. The BBC have turned him. They obviously think he has the right ingredients to be a star, so they made him one. Opportunity knocks, and they just wanted some shiny-faced, gimpy little, girly little twat to be a presenter and present all these programmes and call people knobbers. And he is very, very intolerant of people like us, or me. I don't know about you specifically, but me. I mean, he literally calls us knobbers. I mean, people like Neil deGrasse Tyson. I could actually sit down and have a beer with Neil deGrasse Tyson. I think he would at least be respectful to me, as much as we disagree. And there's many, many others as well, who are not so bad. There's plenty of other scientists and skeptics. Chris French, I can get on with Chris French. He invited me to speak at his conference, and I did. He organised something called the Seriously Suspicious Conference, and I was one of the speakers. This was primarily a skeptic conference. Yeah, he's okay. You see, it's not his opinions that make me dislike him. I don't dislike people for their opinions. It's his attitude. It's his conduct. He didn't steal my lunch money, Coda, but I think he would if he could. Right, 91. Hugo Rune says, yes, I'm doing press-ups on my bed while watching this. I need to strengthen myself. Thanks, Ben. Oh, great, I'm gym fodder now, am I? Oh, anything that works, Hugo? Yeah, that's good. Flight comments 91. Hugo Rune. What is the British Isles? Is Ireland included? Yes, the Irish are British. Oh, I tell you what, I actually got called. This guy I knew who was Irish had a go at me because of this. He said, you shouldn't call it the British Isles. Ireland's not Britain. Ireland is Ireland. Britain is Britain. And it's just, the British Isles it's just a name for this geographical entity, this archipelago, off the coast of northwest Europe, of which Great Britain is the largest. Probably about 3/4 of this landmass is Great Britain, and there's other island. There's the island of Ireland as well, and there's some little islands as well, which are usually much smaller. They're all considerably smaller than the two main islands, and it's a geographical entity. It has nothing to do with human culture or identity of the population who live there, which includes you and me. And Neil says here, British Isles, England, Scotland, Wales, Northern Ireland, Southern Ireland is not part of the UK. Southern Ireland is the Irish Republic. Yeah, that's not. British Isles, England, Scotland, Wales, Northern Ireland. Yeah, that's the UK. There's the four nations of the UK. Although I think this is all changing. I think there are plans to radically alter the political makeup of the British Isles for the purposes of the New World Order of getting as much as possible into the European Union. But I won't go into the details about that yet, but I think that's a possibility. Flight to comments 91. Hugo Rune says, more press-ups to celebrate. Oh my god. You wild man. You gym monkey. Goodness me, you're going to be as fit. It is good for you, Hugo. It does you good. Yeah, no, it does. I know you're not a young chap, I know, and even moderate exercise for people when they reach their sort of like senior years is enormously beneficial. It is enormously beneficial. Same video, Hugo Rune. Thanks, Ben. Good night. You're welcome, Hugo. If I know you, you've probably put some comments on the old tech, I expect. And we have here a reply to comments 91. Feta John says, "Oh my God, oh my goodness me, we got another Unwin speaker. Coda, do you know this guy? Did you send him here, Feta John? Enjoyly lobe verily of the mostfulness delight." Oh well, thank you. I think I know what that means, and thank you very much, Fetler John. Coda, come on, you. It's not. Maybe it is Coda under an assumed identity. Alright, and now we have 91 again. Hey Ben, we'll have to check out the Alex Kingston Boudica movie. I've had a major crush on her for many years, since I first saw her in the BBC adaptation of Moll Flanders. Yeah, she is lovely actually, and yeah, do watch that movie. I mean, it's definitely the best of the films about Boudica. I mean, the one I review, and that's coming up. The review I did of it, which I did last week. That is reasonable, but the one with Alex Kingston is excellent. It's excellent. It's an excellent film. Obviously, like I have a particular attitude towards it because of my feelings, as you know from watching my review of the other one. But I have watched it once. I probably couldn't watch it again, or I'd need to prepare myself to watch it again if I did. But yeah, she's lovely. She was in ER. Do you remember she was in ER with George Clooney? Oh, now we come on to the same video again. Gary Robinson. Hey, Ben. Hey, Gary. Nice to see you again, buddy. Speaking of Blade Runner 2049 being a sequel and not a remake, apparently Amazon are making a Blade Runner TV show. As you can imagine, there are already reports that it's going to be woke. Cheers. I know, Gary's no doubt about that. They're going to have Decker is going to be like he's going to be he, she, they, isn't he? And there's going to be like, oh God, yeah. Neil Peel Paranormal Peep Show says underneath, let me guess, a female Blade Runner. Gary says to Neil, most likely because 2049 goes off the rails just before the end of the movie with a bit of girl power. I'm not sure I want to watch I'm not sure I want to watch it because even though it's a sequel and not a remake, they're really bad sequels to some good films too. I mean, for example, Ghostbusters. I mean, the second Ghostbusters I thought was really lousy. I really didn't like it. I mean, of course, the problem with a really great movie is that it's a tough act to follow. Once you create something really great, your fans will never be satisfied with anything less. And so sequels are always going to be received with enormous criticism. They're going to be picked apart and things like that. But if it's a really, there's some sequels that are really substandard, even by looking at them as standalone movies. I mean, the second Ghostbusters was, I say, not very good. I never watched the third one, the girl power one. Never watched that. And of course, Neil says to Gary, Charlie's Angels meets Will Decker meets Blade. Bring back Rutger, even as a hospital porter. That would do. Yes, Rutger Hauer. He was Tillman in Porters. If you're not, it's brilliant that. Yes, he was very good as that in that film. Sadly, he's no longer with us. He has gone to that great hospital porter's lodge in the sky. He is on eternal night shift. My brother Porter. Gary says to Neil, sounds like a good movie, Hospital Runner, or maybe Blade Porter. That's a good one, yeah. Gary says as well, Blade Runner, and Gary continues, Blade Runner was on at the movies in Hemel Hempstead yesterday, but I missed it. 2049 is on next week, so I might go and see it. Yeah, Gary, do it. I mean, honestly, it's great that these cinemas are showing these old movies again. I mean, as you know, I've been to see a few of them. I've done roving reviews of a couple of them. And there they are. It's really great, because these are films I missed the first time out. Sometimes they were in the cinema before I was born, so I couldn't have seen them. That's great, isn't it? Yeah. And then Neil says to Gary, I would have thought they could have put it out on one straight after the other. Like a double feature, yeah. Just like in the old days when I saw Planet of the Apes, and after a bit of Pearl and Dean, straight on to Escape from Planet of the Apes. Enjoy your movie experience. And the thing is, yeah, I mean, I remember I saw the entire Star Wars trilogy one day. It was like an all-day event at the cinema where my mum worked, and so I got in for free. But yeah, we watched the first Star Wars, then we went off and got some popcorn. We came back, and there was the second one. Then there was Return of the Jedi. I remember. Planet of the Apes. Now, it is actually a bit almost heretical to say this because Planet of the Apes is so acclaimed. It's considered a cultural, almost a kind of almost like a cultural artifact. But I actually I really don't like it. I don't like Planet of the Apes. I think it's a really bad idea. It's a silly story. It's very badly and very crudely kind of executed. The suspense factor is zero. I mean, long before the Statue of Liberty turns up, it's obvious what's happened. The spaceship has gone in a circle. It's come back to Earth in the future. Yeah, not good. I don't like it. I just don't like that film. The fact that it's spawned so many sequels and remakes is, oh dearie me. I've seen one of the Planet of the Apes sequel remakes. God, it was, and one sequel and one remake. Oh, what utter trash! Sorry, fans of that film. And I know it's considered like a piece of classic American Hollywood glory, but I don't like it. Neil says Ben Blade 2050. Maybe I'll have the two Blades like Wesley Snipes in the Blade movie. You know, kill the vampires. Reply to comments 91. Crafty Nihilist going in. It's come up to breathe, Crafty. And Crafty also says on the same video, posting your prize today. That's right, I won the quiz, didn't I? I won the quiz. Not this week. I didn't win it this week. Mary won it this week. But I'll have it. Some pretty tough questions, you know. Why should they be easy? Yeah. Right, reply to comments 91. Gary says, in regards to our ongoing discussion about Indy 5, they did indeed go back into production in order to rescue the movie. Pardon me. If you eventually watch it, you'll notice that the ending of the movie doesn't properly connect to the previous scene in any way, shape or form, and it's obvious that it was tacked on at the last minute. I can't remember if I mentioned this, but people who were at one of the test screenings reported watching the ending, in which the opening scene from Raiders of the Lost Ark was recreated, presumably with AI, so that Phoebe Waller-Bridge could be inserted into the scene, replacing Harrison Ford. She claimed that she makes a statement about returning the golden idol to the native people before handing it over to them. Strange to think that footage is sitting in a vault somewhere. Cheers. Oh dear, how awful. Well, I suppose it is kind of like I suppose it's a sign of hope that they did go to so much trouble to change the ending, and the fact that it actually, as you say here, it doesn't connect properly to the previous scene. So obviously, like a good filmmaker would know how to edit and script and things like that, and do production design to make it look like it's not like it is actually not. It's not just sort of like something tacked on and it doesn't fit. They'll make it sort of fit in so it sort of like matches. So it looks like it was all made in one go. But clearly they haven't done that. If you notice this difference, you notice how it doesn't fit in. Presumably, again, there's probably some rush. There's probably some, in some ways, it's probably been rushed. It's been rushed, and it's been they haven't smoothed off the sharp corners, which again is tells you a lot, doesn't it? It could be that the original ending will at some point find its way. It may be bootlegged. It'll probably end up here on YouTube at some point. Someone will leak it, but goodness me, what trash! Returning the golden idol to the native people. Oh, white guilt. Yes, Indy was an imperialist, misogynistic patriarch. Yeah, you know. I mean, the thing about it is, you know, I actually do object to the theft of sacred items from indigenous peoples throughout the ages. I do, but you know, this sort of returning it to them and things like that. I don't let myself get into the mindset that yeah, let's go for it, because I know how that will be exploited. I know how cultural Marxist think tanks are finding ways to exploit that in my mind. So yeah, I've kind of had to bury that sentiment a bit. It's, even though I agree with it in a way, Gary says here on Reply to Comments 91. Bandmate, in regards to you creating shorts using clips of the comments reply videos, I think the best way to do it would be to write out a posting schedule for yourself. For example, you could aim to create 4 shorts from each comments reply video and post one every Friday. Maybe you could cover a different topic in each one, as the movies, UFOs, politics and woke. Last year, my music distributor mentioned that all of the big platforms such as Instagram and TikTok were going to be adjusting their algorithms so that content creators who post shorts regularly will get more traction, and anyone who doesn't post shorts will see less interaction and views. Cheers. Thanks, Gary. I appreciate the advice and things like that. However, when it comes to content creators who don't post shorts having less views and interactions, that could be a bit of a fait accompli when it comes to my channel. I've been shadow banned now since at least 2018. However, this is something I really want to try, and as you know, you've probably seen that I've already tried it, and indeed we'll be discussing that video shortly. As you also know from watching that video, I've had a few technical problems, but hopefully we'll get those sorted out soon. Same video, Gary Robinson. I don't quite remember what Blogger was saying in regards to comic book movies and their authenticity. Maybe he could drop us an update so we can discuss. He could drop us an update. Who? What Blogger was saying? What I will say, though, is that comic book movies are drifting from the source material simply because of woke. This goes back to my comment detailing the story of the Hollywood writer who's told that if you're familiar with the source material, you don't get hired, as they're making these films for a modern audience. The only problem is that this modern audience they refer to doesn't really exist. Yeah. I don't think they care, Gary. They're getting to the point where they don't really care. Of course they will eventually, because they will run out of money. If they can't get bums on seats, they're not magical. They don't have this kind of omnipotent, ability to change the laws of reality, as some people attribute to them. But until that happens, it seems like they're just going with gay abandon towards the cliff edge. But yeah, that was awful. I'm sure that Gareth Davies. No, I can't call him Gareth Davies. What's his name? Gareth. What's his bloody name? The guy who wrote Doctor Who. Oh God, he's this rather pompous little man with a Cardiff accent. Oh shit. Oh, hang on a sec. British talent. Oh, okay. He wrote this thing called Queer as Folk, which was not very good. Russell T Davies. Oh, bloody hell. Russell T Davies. How could I forget that? Russell T Davies. He's essentially said as much when it regards to the new Doctor Who. He's simply saying we want a complete break with the past. And he's already been tweeting very contemptuous and arrogant replies to anyone who contacts him on Twitter complaining. Yeah. But of course the audience that likes that sort of thing is minuscule. Maybe they're hoping to create it, working in conjunction with education and other forms of mind control, literally to brainwash people into being woke. Maybe they're planning for the future when they hope that the mind control thing will work. In the meantime, the only people I ever meet who like this sort of shite, oh yes, it's so progressive, man, they changed the Doctor into a he, she, they, and Luke Skywalker's a horrible, bitter white man and has been obseded by a woman. And the only people I know who like that are basically the sort of left-wing Twitterati and the critics. Right, reply to comments 91, Gary Robinson. Brian Cox wasn't in Game of Thrones. Alright, this is not Professor Brian Cox, this is an actor called Brian Cox. He was offered a role but turned it down. You should watch it, Ben. It's a really good show, apart from the final season that was rushed because Kathleen Kennedy hired the writers to work on a Star Wars movie, which is a shame, because they ended up parting ways with Lucasfilm anyway. Oh, damn. Yeah, that's bloody awful when that happens. Yeah, Brian. Right. Well, I might try it out, Gary. I know everyone seems to watch it and love it. But it's really awful that they basically they took some really good writers from one project and put them on another really crap one. I got the perfect other example actually. Where is it? I actually wrote about it here. Yeah, it's this. All right, this is. I wrote this review of this. I wrote a review here. There's this one here. You see, A Spy Among Friends. There we are. You can read that on HPANWO Voice. But basically, this was a dramatisation of the story of Kim Philby and the other Cambridge spies. But they've added an extra character. They've added someone who didn't exist. This character, who's a woman. She's a woman. She's like she's like an she's like a counter-espionage kind of internal cracker who always sort of like interviews people, and she's continuously portraying. She's always subjecting these upper middle class white men to humiliating, put down, scathing interrogations. Characters like her are actually not really characters at all. They are concepts. They're just an overused concepts. And of course, she's married to a black man because she would never touch filthy white skin. Her husband is a doctor. Yeah, black people can be clever too. You know, they can be doctors. You know, and there's loads of unnecessary self-indulgent kind of domestic bliss scenes between her and her husband. It's really, really, really bad. So this Lily Thomas is the name of the character, and at the end of the series, it says they at the end of the entire series they have like a rundown of the real life histories of the various characters: Kim Philby, Guy Burgess, the various other people, Anthony Blunt, people like that. And at the end they say with enormous dramatic effect, Lily Thomas never existed. Why? Why would they do that? Why? What point are they making? Why put that information in there? What point are they trying to make? And it's when you realise the way they think. And this was made by the BBC. This series, you know exactly what point they're making. They're saying she didn't exist. If only she had existed. If only there had been a strong, empowered, independent woman involved in the inquiry, then the scandal caused by these horrible white straight posh men would have been avoided, and these spies would never have got away with it. What insulting crap that is. Oh, there's much better ones than that. Anyway, this series, the actress who plays, what's her name? This is what's really awful. The actress who plays her. Let me just find out. Hang on a sec. I've written it down here because this is the Good Omens 2. That's right. This is Jamnoy 72 told me about this. But this is Good Omens 2. There we are. Now this is Shelley Conn. Her name is Conn. Shelley Conn is the actress who played Lord Beelzebub in the second Good Omens season. And now I didn't think she was as good. I thought they should have brought back the last one because in the first season the actress who played Lord Beelzebub was called Anna Maxwell Martin. And that's her. But well, she couldn't actually do Good Omens 2. So they had to get this other actress who wasn't as good. And why couldn't she do Good Omens 2? Because she was playing this Lily Thomas bitch in A Spy Among Friends. So that I've been sort of like beating around the bush and going round in circles a lot, Gary, but I'm back to where I started now, answering your point. They took a really good actress from a really great series where she really made a great contribution, and they moved it onto a shite series to play a horrible little propagandistic PC thug in a really annoying way, and so they had to basically get another actress to play the character she was playing in the good series, who didn't do as good a job. And like you said here, it's because it's exactly the same thing here. Kathleen Kennedy hired the writers from Game of Thrones to work on the Star Wars, which was a shame because they ended up parting films with Lucas parting ways with Lucasfilms anyway, and of course it wasn't as good. So that's my point I'm making, Gary. Yeah. Here we go. Straw Person, aka Marky Boy, says on 91, if the brown stuff hits the fan and the mushroom cloud is due, then I have a foolproof plan. I shall move a comfy leather sofa into the front garden, put some earbuds in and play some great music on level 10. A large glass of Hein rare brandy in one hand and a fat bifter to smoke in the other. I no longer live like Snoop Dogg, but by that point it really would not matter. I have no fear of death, but I do hope the dying part is quick. But even if it takes a few minutes, it's not long really, is it? Plus, that fine brandy and smoke will chill me out just fine. The question is, why would anyone want to survive in any case? The lucky ones will be the first to go, as the mighty Devo sang, Marky Boy. Oh, thanks, Marky Boy. Well, you know, some people often say they do this. They said if the balloon went up, they would simply go and sit down. They get themselves a beer and they just get pissed and they just say, "Hey, I'm just going to have one big party before the end." I mean, in the series, The Second Coming, which I review in my Apocalypse talk, which also was written by Russell T Davies. It's one of the good things he did. That's some people react like that, and when the apocalypse is happening. I don't want to live through this, so I'll just die happy with partying. Some people said I'll go and have sex with some woman, and we'll basically have sex on the floor. If you get 4 minutes, you get 4 minutes to have sex. You just go up to the nearest woman and say, "Can I shag you, please?" And then you'll do that before the end. Yeah. In the case of some certain X-ray porters, though, you've got to ask yourself the question: what will they do with the other 3.5 minutes? But you know what I mean. Would you want to live through? Because I mean, if you living through to the other side of that would mean what? It would mean coming out into a world which is destroyed, and basically it could be that the Illuminati are going to take advantage of that, or even create the disaster to build the new world order. What would happen? You wouldn't be able to live in that world. Certainly, if you had the opinions that we do, you would be then in prison, probably executed. So, I see your point. I really, really do. On the other hand, though, it could be that this would be the end of the New World Order, and then you'd be in a post-Illuminati world, which would, however intensely awful it would be to begin with, something good would emerge from it. I make this point in my Apocalypse talk. If you've not seen that, Marky, it's worth watching. There is a studio version on my channel. Coda says it's an old one, Claire Ray Randall interview, deeper gender issues. Yeah, I did actually do 2 interviews with Claire. It's very interesting to talk to her about these things. Coda says female loaders of the human beal do not have a pentaload or swing it about there. Oh no. A pentaload. Is a pentaload what I think it is? Of course, that's right. Yes, I know. So I mean, you see, as much as it is basically a cliche, isn't it? Women don't have a penis. Well, yeah, okay. But Keir Starmer couldn't actually say that, could he? But you see, the problem is the TERFs. I don't like or support the TERFs, even though they say a lot of things I agree with. So, for example, I mean, I share a lot. I share Claire's views actually about the way the trans issue has been basically perverted. The War on Gender is the name of her book. At the same time, though, people like Kelly J. Keane, Posey Parker, I don't think she'd be very sympathetic to Claire. I mean, I agree. See, I agree with a lot of what Posey Parker said, especially when it comes to the children. But I think she's a mean. I think she's a mean person and is quite narrow-minded when it comes to people like Claire. I don't think she would be very sympathetic to Claire. Whereas, of course, if you meet Claire, you read her book and you get to know her, you'll know that the trans issue has another side to it. There are people who are genuinely mentally into sex in their heads, whatever their bodies are like. and what happens to those people? What do people do? What was Claire supposed to do? I mean, she talks about her own upbringing, her own childhood and teenage years, and it's like, was she supposed not to transition? In her case, what else could she do? Okay, reply to comments 91. The crafty nihilist says, this got deleted, capitals. They're either lying about building bunkers or only building them to scare us into panic and chaos. Like they said in the film Leave the World Behind, all they need to do is sow the seeds and humanity does the rest. Remember the toilet roll war of the recent past? Quote, without a clear enemy or motive, people start turning on each other. If the target nation was dysfunctional enough, it would in essence do the work for you. Yeah, I think that's from Yuri Bezmenov, isn't it? Yeah. Yeah. This did. I honestly, Crafty, your comment did appear on my list, but I mean, it doesn't seem to be on the actual video. So it's really awful, yeah. But you made a point. The point you make here, they're lying about building bunkers. Well, obviously they're building the bunkers, but are they building them to scare us into panic and chaos? So in other words, it's some kind of sham to make us respond in a certain way. Is that what you're saying? In which case, that might be true. That might be the case. I don't know. But as for Leave the World Behind, yeah, I mean, I did an entire video about that particular gem, and it's very interesting. It's actually a really interesting film. I'm actually going to review it with Trevor on Third Rail Radio tomorrow. Yeah. But whatever the answer is, you can be sure the Illuminati are going to try and take advantage of it, whether it's something they create or whether it's something that happens. They will it's either part of the plan or it's something opportunistic which they will exploit. And I replied to Crafty, it's here now, sorry, I don't know why that keeps happening, meaning comments getting deleted. I don't know, this is a problem with YouTube. And Coda says to me, Bunkload's conspiritole in the groundy hole. There liveth a hobbit load there. Yeah, hobbit load. Yes. Bunkload's conspiritole? Question mark. Bunkload's something conspiracy. In the ground, in a hole in the ground, a groundy hole, there lived a hobbit. Yes. Good old Tolkien. 91. Gary Robinson says, hey Ben, the movie Shirley Valentine is one of those films that has been neglected on home video formats for whatever reason. Has it not? Has it? As far as I know, it's not available on Blu-ray, and this is most likely because they know that in order for that to happen, they will have to spend money and go back to the original negative in order to create their new digital transfer. If you look online, you'll find is cheap-looking budget DVD releases of the movie. Most of them are not even UK region codes. When this happens, you tend to find that the DVDs have been created from the same master tapes used for the VHS releases, which often results in the DVD being in full screen and generally sporting bad quality image and sound. I'm shocked to hear that they censored the nudity by zooming in on the frame, but it doesn't surprise me at all. Another movie that was never really made available other than on VHS is Castaway with Oliver Reed. I've no idea why it's never been restored and released on Blu-ray. Back in the early 90s, when I was still at school, I did work experience at the British Film Institute in Berkhamsted. I met a number of technicians there whose job was to restore old movies. They would spend all their time watching the restorations very closely to check for audio sync issues, as well as hairs on the film, etc. Audio syncing problems seem to be their biggest fear. It's quite possible that a pristine print of Shirley Valentine is sitting somewhere in the BFI archives. Cheers. Oh, I didn't know that, Gary. I mean, I've got the DVD, luckily. I do have it. I've also found it in a couple of places. I found it online in a couple of places. Some of them less legit than others. Well, luckily, the ones on my DVD and indeed on the online versions, they don't have this ridiculous censorship that the BBC imposed on it. You know, they edited out the swearing, which there's only 4 or 5 times there's swearing in it, and of course zooming in on the pixelating the nude scenes, which is really silly. That doesn't happen on the DVD. You do get to see Pauline Collins' tits. etc. So yeah, so I didn't realise it wasn't available on home media. I really didn't. I mean, it's certainly not I haven't seen it on official sites like Amazon and Netflix. But I do hope it does come out, because I say it's a very positive film. It's it's one that I found uplifting. It's got a very positive, uplifting message. It's inspiring. It's a feel-good movie. 91 Coda says, so D. Hawley Rich Loader is all punch it the sky hole. Yes, Richard D. Hall's punching the sky. Yeah, punching the air. In the dock loaders with the arrows on the uniform and chainy ballage around the anchor load there. He's in the dock with the arrows on the uniform and the balls and chains around the ankles. Now he's not going to go to jail. I mean, he's been sued in a civil case, which the worst they can do to him is sting him for money. But you know, funny enough, what's his name, Andy Burnham, suggested that Richard should face criminal charges. I mean, is this where we've come to? Is this the level we've descended to? I think it is. We're literally now saying that people who express certain opinions, certain people like Andy Burnham, who's a very prominent person, he's the mayor of Manchester. I don't know if he is now, but he was. Is saying, you know, yeah, this guy should go to jail for what he said. He deserved prison. He deserved prison for what he said. I mean, it's just crazy. I mean, it seems like the only people who go to jail now are the people who don't deserve it. The people who do something, just express an opinion. It's like Sam Melia. I mean, you may be familiar with this guy. He does a lot of videos and things like that. He is in jail right now for printing stickers. He printed stickers to put on in public places, expressing opinions, and these were he actually got them checked by a solicitor. I remember him saying. And he's in jail. And his wife's about to have another baby. Oh, God. Anyway, Coda continues. Hume could protest it, just like the jelly suffrage at the Speaker's Corn in Hardy Parklow there. Oh, yes, you mean you could protest it like the suffragettes at Speaker's Corner in Hyde Park. Yeah. I mean, I'd like to go there. I mean, it's getting more and more. It's getting more and more, divisive there since the situation with the Gaza protesters and the pro-Israelis. They tend to confront each other there quite often, quite viciously. Yeah. Okay, 91. Neil, Gandhi was directed by Richard Attenborough, not David Lean, who directed Lawrence of Arabia. Right you are. I stand corrected. Like the man in the orthopaedic shoes. Ben W. This is someone called Ben W. on 91. Off topic from anything on this video, Ben, but I remember you interviewed Alan Tate and the strange recordings under his house a few years back. What happened to him, and are there any developments? Didn't he have a YouTube channel? He did. Alan has been very quiet lately, Ben. I've not really heard much from him. I've got his email. He stopped replying to my emails. He's, as far as I know, his own YouTube and BitChute channels are gone. I don't know what's happening. I hope he's okay. White people are replied to Christy Winters. Oh, this is an old one, but I'm very proud of this video. Melvin Sherman said, and I forgot one more thing. I don't think Christy Winters wants to live in East Germany. She wants to live in the whole Eastern Bloc. Yeah, Christy actually did live in. I think she does still live in Germany, doesn't she? She's American, but she did live in Germany for a while. I don't know if she's seen my video. I haven't had any replies from her. I don't think I'd get in a debate with Christy because I think she is. I don't think she's an honest person. I don't think she would fight fair. 91. Neil Peel says, yes, Ben, the US Navy guy flying on the platform in the other Aldeburgh video, I assumed operated it through some kind of pushing air, like a Harrier jump jet. I assumed the actual Aldeburgh platform was some reverse gravity disc, and funny, it had a handrail for safety. Yeah, I mean, definitely, I mean, you're right about the US Navy experimental craft, which which, like a lot of these platforms, it works with a downward directional jet engine. There's quite a few just different designs for that, including some that are like, some of them are quite small, some of them fit on you as backpacks. As for the actual Algebra platform, I don't know what it is. I mean, it appears to levitate without any obvious means. No envelope, no rotors, nothing. This was also in 1916, before a lot of this technology had been invented. It was literally just a circular platform, and it had a handrail around it, and there were some guys in what looked like uniforms standing on it. I don't think it was like a pod from observation pod from a Zeppelin, because I explained that they look very different. So what was it? Yeah, what was it? Excuse me. I don't know, Neil. If it is some kind of, I mean, it doesn't look like something you might describe as alien. It doesn't look like a spaceship. It's like something. It's like something almost Keelian in its sort of bizarreness, like the Mothman. It's like that. One long Boudica moment. We've got a new video there, and the crafty nihilist said, "What a great painting! I bet someone fabulous did that." Yes, of course. As regular viewers will know, it was Liz of the Crafty Nihilist who actually produced the Boudica picture, which I use for my Boudica moments, little intros and outros. Yeah. Oh, and first, says the Crafty Nihilist. Well done, Crafty. Well done indeed. And on the same video, Coda said, "Secondly, common trail. Follow it up on the rear loader." Oh dear me, that sounds painful. And then the Crafty Nihilist says on One Long Boudica Moment, "Very moving, Ben. I don't think I could watch it. We've got a Boudica question in the quiz this way, by the week." Oh, you did? Yes, you did. I remember. It's I remember I got that one too, didn't I? That was actually last week's quiz. Crafty Nihilists do like a quiz live stream every Saturday at 7, so please do check out their channel. But yeah, this video, I mean, it was interesting to do. I personally feel a bit embarrassed by it, and I know a lot of you will disagree, and you wouldn't accept an apology from me. But I knew I would find it very emotional to watch the film and to talk about it, but I was actually a lot more emotional than I expected to be. And I actually considered just scrapping the whole thing. I didn't have time to reshoot the video, the whole review section, and I thought about scrapping the video, but then I thought, no, I'll edit. So excuse me, I'll edit it as best as I can. So I did, and then I'll just upload it when I did. Hugo Roon says, "Nice one, Ben." Thanks, Hugo. Much appreciated, mate. Diego Rivera says, "You would make a great Boudica, Ben, as you also have your moments, a real tearjerker." If anyone ever tried to bloody gender swap Boudica, oh, that'd be worse than Doctor Who. That'd be worse than having white men degraded in Star Wars. That'd be worse than Indiana Jones. Oh, I'd be so angry. Diego Rivera, "What did the Romans do for us? What have the Romans ever done for us?" Well, they've created law and order, and the drains. Yeah, that's right. It's safe to walk the streets now, isn't it? Yeah. Oh, and they made us wealthy. I can't remember that scene from Monty Python. But apart from the drains, apart from the aqueducts, apart from the law and order, what have the Romans ever done for us? And, well, Reg, it is the wine. Ow, fuck off. Classic Monty Python, that is. Helen Tucker says, "I've always enjoyed your Boudica moments." Thanks, Helen. You got a big long one this time. Hugo Roon says on One Long Boudica Moment, "From 25-27 onward." Me? Say something? Oh, I did say Hugo Roon would want to comment on it. "Only thank you, Ben, as you are re-educating me. I was wrong about my past beliefs." Oh, Hugo, you're welcome. Diego Rivera says, "You need a big hug from Russell." I did try, but he sort of like squeezed. I needed to blow him up a little bit. Same video, Crafty Nihilist. Jesus Christ Superstar gets me like this, Ben. The bit when he's in the Garden of Gethsemane, asking why he has to die. Oh my God, lots of crying faces. Yeah, it's some things do, don't they? Just make you feel. They make you feel very, very emotional. It could be a real story. It could be a movie. It could be a book. As I said, like the Titanic disaster affects a lot of people that way. It doesn't affect me that way, but it does a lot of other people. Rhiannon Raven says here, "Hey Rhiannon, how you doing? Ben, I don't think there is any contradiction in you being an anti-feminist and having such a strong emotional connection to Boudica's story. Being a strong and brave person who stood up and did what she had to do made her just that, a strong and brave woman. It does not make her a feminist. A feminist would have been claiming victimhood, blaming others, and running the other way in such circumstances." That's true. That's true, Rhiannon. Being a feminist is not about being a woman. There are many male feminists. It is a state of mind and not a state of sex or gender. Maybe you have such a strong emotional connection to this period of British history because you were there in a previous life. Maybe you even Boudica herself. Oh, Rhiannon, yeah, I mean, it's... I don't know. I mean, the thing about it is, I mean, people, when it comes to past lives, there are people who have memories of past lives as being someone of the opposite sex. I mean, if you get into Dolores Cannon and her research for hypnosis, she comes across people who describe past lives as alien robots and things like that. It's really incredible. So yeah, I mean, it's funny. I mean, I know this. There's this lady. Miles actually interviewed her a couple of times. She's a woman. She's very feminine. She's heterosexual, but she says I'm a male soul. She said that 95% of her incarnations are men, and her previous one was a man, but she happens to be having one of her rare female incarnations now. So yeah, this is always possible. But the idea that I'd had some kind of past life, then yeah, this could be, as you say, Rhiannon, why I have this strong emotional connection. Why else? I mean, what else would have made me feel this way? This is the thing. And Neil says underneath, maybe to further that investigation into a possible past life would be to see how Ben reacts to various Roman-themed films. Could be. I mean, the thing is, I have actually watched those. I mean, things like Ben-Hur and and Spartacus, which actually portray the Romans in quite a bad light. And indeed, they could be extremely cruel. But then I suppose most people could in those days. I mean, a lot of people were. The Romans, I think, were unique in the scale of their cruelty, maybe not its severity. It's that kind of thing. And Coda says here underneath to Neil, "I'm trotty trickly how to bury Caesar in the earthly abode, not to kissy cuddleode his bocus." I know what bocus means now. How to bury Caesar in the burying Caesar on the earthly abode, not to kissy cuddleode his bocus. Your bocus is bottom. You can guess the rest. Same video, Hugo Rune. Go ahead, do another. Another what? Not another review. I mean, I couldn't review. I don't think I could review the Alex Kingston Boudica. Someone actually did read it, because I actually did a written review of the Alex Kingston Boudica movie on HPANWO years and years ago, on the original HPANWO blog, and someone actually tracked it down to read it. I was quite impressed by that. Yeah. Angela Kenyon says, "Ben, I like the perfect positioning of your little green friend over your left shoulder." Yes, Russell. In that particular... Yeah, he was behind me in my studio area, yeah. And Angela Kenyon says here, "You are very touched and deeply moved by this, as if you were reliving parts of it, Ben." Yeah, it does... it was even more so than I thought, that I felt that way, Angela. It was really quite... It's really very... It was strange. It was a peculiar... It's a peculiar that this does seem to affect me in this way. It's really strange. It's odd, that, isn't it? And I don't know why, unless it is a past life thing. John Nolan says, sadly they're the common people have not got a leader who has their best interests at heart. No, absolutely, yes. God, yeah, it's. I saw Sunak really having a he's having a go at the people of Rochdale, and how dare he slag off the people of Rochdale, standing there on his podium, an unelected leader, saying, "Oh, democracy in this country is under threat because you voted the wrong way." They did this after Brexit, didn't they? They did this to us after Brexit. It was really, really annoying. Oh, that's the end of an hour. Just saying, they do this. They did this after Brexit. They did this after Trump got in. Well, we respect democracy and people's right to choose, but you need to choose the right way and do the right thing, and you need to vote the way we want you to. Only then are you enforcing democracy, or you're protecting democracy. Anyway, guys, I'm back for hour number 2 shortly. Okay, we're back with part 2, and Angela Kenyon, who says here, where we are now, yeah. I'm actually just going to revisit the comment she made earlier. I can't remember if I actually said it in detail, but she says here, "You are very touched and deeply moved by all of this, as if you're reliving parts of it, Ben." Maybe that's, again, this is something I do wonder about, whether I'm literally responding to some kind of subconscious memory, because I have no conscious past life memories. I'm not like some people who do, especially young children who often can consciously remember living lives before. Jason Leninger, people like that. Yeah, I do. It's an interesting question, Angela, but thank you very much for that comment. Dark Corners UK says here on One Long Boudica Moment, "Thanks for the review, Ben. I'm genuinely sorry to see you upset. I myself have a similar emotional response to the film The Passion of the Christ, even though I consider myself an atheist and I'm not convinced about the whole Son of God thing. I do believe Jesus was a historical figure, and what the Romans did to that man, or at the very least how the film portrays what they did to him, is truly shocking. No man should ever have to endure that kind of torture he went through." Yeah, and Dark Corners, yes, that's the film The Passion of the Christ is emotionally draining, and I understand that. And this is why I was very interested when I found out that Mel Gibson had originally planned to make a film about Boudica, because I know that it would be very, very good. It would be along the realms of that, and of course Braveheart, which is very similar. Braveheart also ends with a scene of torture and death, but with the same level of kind of defiance and dignity. And it's in a sense, I don't know whether to feel relieved or to be disappointed that Mel Gibson has actually cancelled that project. But yeah, I've watched Passion of the Christ, and I think it was very good in terms of its, on the technical side, the fact that they did reconstruct the languages. And there's the image of Satan as this sort of like very effeminate individual with the son of Satan as the sort of deformed monster and things like that. Very, very good. Yes, I thought that was very good indeed. But it could be that, yeah, some people, it just haunts. One of these films that sometimes haunts you, doesn't it? It just haunts you. Yeah. Sonara's Ash Tree says, "I feel your pain, Ben. Blimey, made me cry." I knew you would, Sonara. I knew you would, because you and I have discussed this sort of thing, haven't we? Because you're very like me in the sense you love nature and tradition, and the sort of genuine and natural things in the world. And of course, everything that the Illuminati do is designed to overturn that, to create the unnatural, the ugly, the modern trampling over the old. I know you're a fan of Lord of the Rings and things like that, like I am. So I knew you'd understand me, Sonara. I really knew you would. Thank you. And Jam Noise says here, "Oh, Ben, sending you a big hug. Thanks for defending me on my video." Oh, you're welcome, soul sister. You're welcome. And yeah, I appreciate that, Jam Noise. I really do. I knew you'd understand me. I knew you would as well. And she's referring to an incident. Yeah, Jackie had a video on her channel. You can find it there, and she's just like dancing to music, as she does. She's a very musical person. And some tosser troll just turns up and starts calling her names. And I just told him where to go. You're very welcome, Jackie. And Gary Robinson says on One Long Boudica Moment, "Hello, mate. I didn't know that about the Mel Gibson movie, but it makes sense after he made Apocalypto. He said he was also planning to make a Viking movie, which would be filmed entirely in a language which I believe he referred to as Old Norse. With the movie you mentioned, it would essentially make a trilogy of historical movies, all filmed in ancient languages. I believe DiCaprio was attached to the Viking movie at one point, but so far the film hasn't happened. Cheers." You're well. That's really, really good, Gary. Because I mean, it doesn't surprise me that Mel Gibson would want to do that, and I'm sure if he did, it would be excellent. I mean, there was a really good Viking movie that came out a little while ago, which was in English, but it was had natural casting, shall we say, and was more authentic in terms of its technical detail about the environment. It was set in medieval Iceland and had like real life. The person had actually gone to the historians and the archaeologists and said, what did these people look like? What was their clothing like? What kind of houses did they live in? What were their villages and towns like? And again, I'm sure Mel Gibson would do the same. This attention to detail is very important for him. And as for the languages, yeah, I mean, in many ways, actually using a language, filming anything in a language which nobody speaks anymore is difficult. I mean, it could be that language is known because it has been preserved. For example, Latin has been preserved, which is why the Latin dialogue in the Passion of the Christ was possible. There's lots of details about Latin, and ancient Aramaic, which is what Jesus would have spoken. I don't know how much written records there are for Old Norse. What they can do sometimes, what people can do, is actually they can construct a language based on theories, the theory about how they develop, because for a language which has a modern descendant. So, for example, Old Norse has spoken languages in the world today, which essentially have descended from Old Norse, and these are the languages we refer to as North Germanic, that is Norwegian, Icelandic, Swedish, Danish, etc. And indeed, if we didn't know any Latin, it may be possible to reconstruct this form of Latin from studying the modern descendants of Latin, for example, French, Spanish, Italian. These are all very different languages. They have their own features, but they have a lot in common because they are Romance languages, and it may be possible to reconstruct what the language they may have come from to a certain degree of accuracy. It'd be interesting to get an AI bot to do that, actually, and see what it comes up with. Actually, these rather strange contraptions might as well put themselves to good use. In terms of Boudica, obviously there'd be reconstructed Latin, but also the Celtic would have to be reconstructed. Again, that could be done from making studies of Welsh, Cornish, Irish, etc., the modern Celtic languages. Indeed, I think that has happened. There are also a few written scripts of old British. Funny enough, they were found in Bath. I'll try and find the details actually of it. Insular Celtic languages, and here we have the 4 of the 6 insular Celtic languages. So that includes. All surviving Celtic languages are in the insular group, including Breton, which is spoken in the continental Europe in France. The continental Celtic languages are now extinct. So there's 6. There's 3 Brythonic languages, Breton, Cornish, Welsh, and 3 Goidelic languages. That is the Scottish, Manx, Irish, Gaelic. And this is a very, very interesting thing. I mean, there's also you do have anomalies such as Pictish. What's interesting about Pictish is that it appears it has Brythonic features, and you see that in place names like Aberdeen. Here we are. This is interesting, and I'll show you this. I'll actually show you this here. No documents in the language have been found. That is Old Brittonic. But a few inscriptions have been identified. The Bath Curse tablets found in the Roman feeder pool at Bath, Somerset, bear about 150 names and about 50% Celtic. An inscription of a metal pendant seems to contain an ancient Brittonic curse, and there it is there. And so this is what you would do in those days. You would actually, in the bath, this is it, you see, it's got something written on there. You just see it basically there. And that's what people used to do in those days. As you know, if you remember my visit to the Roman baths, they would literally, you petition the god, Sulis Minerva, as you would today, as people do today when they pray for something. But people today pray for like good things to happen and things like that. In those days, you would pray for bad things to happen to people you don't like. And this is someone who wanted to curse a number of people and hope that the god would ruin their lives and things like that. It was an act of hatred. So that's interesting now. But that's the only written. That is the only written example. That's the only example of any written text in that language. That is the language from which Welsh and the other languages descended from. And as a result, it would have to be reconstructed essentially, using possibly that little scrap of text which I've just shown you, a tiny little specimen, but also by simply looking at the modern languages and how they develop and maybe working your way back, because that can be done as well. All kinds of old languages have been theorized and reconstructed in theory by that. Okay, we have Roy Bland now, and see what he has to say. As I said, there's someone with a very similar name I've blocked on AltTech. He claims it's not this guy. Anyway, he says here, I watched the debate with the bowler hat man and challenge your account of the outcome. Well, why doesn't that surprise me, Roy? He completely wiped the floor with you, not the other way around. Well, I disagree with you. Alarm bells started to ring concerning your grip on reality. What are you talking about? Are you trying to make a point here? Alarm bells started in your grip on reality. This is rhetoric. You're going to be more specific regarding debate with Steve Mumbling. Oh right, so you're not going to explain why Bowler Hat Man was right and I was wrong, are you? You don't want to do that. I could say, well, I'm completely wiping the floor with you, Roy Bland, and because alarm bells are ringing concerning your grip on reality when you said 2 + 2 = 4. If I said that, would 2 + 2 automatically equal 5? You need to look up ad hominems, poisoning the well, just rhetoric, no argument. That's what you need to think about. Regarding the debate with Steve Mumbling, well, yeah, I've had a couple of those. I've had the opportunity to ask Henderson many of the same questions Steve did. Despite having all the time in the world to check his files, Henderson never replied. The detectives got smashed in that debate. Steve let himself down with his conduct, but the facts are facts, and Henderson was clueless. That's why he disappeared from the stream, but carried on sending his chums messages. I don't know what you mean by then. Scott, I think, was there the whole time. If he had to dip out at some point. It wasn't for that reason. We're still waiting for Henderson's path loss calculation. It's simply a junior school maths. Anyone could do it. He won't for a reason. Well, I mean, it's Roy. You'll have to ask him that. I don't know the specific argument you're referring to there. But I think you've misunderstood the debate I had with Steve Mumbling and the other top Apollo detectives did. Do bear in mind that I challenged Steve Mumbling to a second debate in which it would just be a one-on-one with the two of us, and I said I wanted to discuss any subject other than the Apollo missions. He turned me down. So who's running now? Who's exchanging messages with their chums now? Eh? Who's disappeared now? Steve Mumbling has. He won't challenge me. Right. Assange. This is Assange Expedition Hearing livestream. Tessa111 says 1111. Thanks, Ben. Appreciate this. You're welcome, Tessa. Contact Time says if they extradite him, the gods will wreak havoc on their souls. Yeah, I believe that. I believe that every actions you commit do carry their own punishment. I think there is what you might call a retribution, karmic retribution. I've spotted it in my own life. I think it exists. Contact Times also says here on the same video, Navalny was a Western intelligence pawn, little more. Don't buy the media hype. Absolutely not, Contact Times. Indeed, I've covered this on HPANWO Voice. I did a little article when Navalny died. Right, Coda says here on Assange Expedition Hearing livestream, you need to explain it, your deep aversion and huffalo dowder to the wordage ODO. What is the meal of your extreme reaction and steam it out of the eardroves there? I guess that. I do explain my deep aversion to the wordage ODO. What's the meaning of your extreme reaction, the steam out of your ears? Well, Coda, I mean, I think on the HPWA blog, and indeed on one of the gas banner episodes, and indeed also on I covered this in one of the Syntheos videos. I do explain that it's more than just a word. I explain my aversion to it is it was essentially replacing the word theatre porter, and I objected to that. I'll explain why in detail. You say I need to explain it. I have explained it in those videos. In that, I can't remember which one it is. Sorry, but you can go to the HPWA blog, or you can go to the gas banner and check it out, because I go into enormous detail there. Same video, Angel Breath. Well done for covering this, Ben. Thanks, Angel Breath. Much appreciated. And we have here Coda again, who says on reply to comments 91. Oh, 'tis the day of Celebrale. Sheddy tear and sniffalode with deep joy. Oh, that's nice. Oh yes, my youngly Padawan is all learned the wordage Unwin most. Yes. I'm picking it up, Coda, aren't I? Take a kneel clapper, what, George Floyd style, while I brandish it the lightly sabold, all swishy most and mincy about there. Oh, you're gonna knight me, are you? You're going to go. Arise, sir. Now here he says it. Now arise and be name it Sir Darthley Pawkins. Deep joy. Oh yeah, Sir Darthley Pawkins. Do you think that suits me, Sir Darthley Pawkins? It's not as bad as Sir Richard Dawkins. Or was it Dawkins Richardly Load, as you call it? Dawkinsy Richardly Load. No, Relative Madness. Oh, this is an old one. This is one of the few videos on my channel not made by me. It was made by Vika Evdokimenko, who's actually a Russian filmmaker. Fwa, who's the blondly, bombshelly, shomelage, all busey most, just like Windy Barbara's in the karaoke's filmage with Jamie Sliders, all give it to the higher, chuckleode there. Oh, right. I think you're referring to Sue Stain. Yes, she's the blondie bombshellage. Yes, that's my ex-partner, Sue Stain, who took part in this film, and who, unfortunately, I'm no longer associated with. Very sad. And we have Tanya Cummings, who says, hello, Ben, from Australia. Hey, Tanya, how you doing? Hope all's well with you. Neil Peel says on the Assange livestream, Assange on The Simpsons recording was done via the embassy down a phone line, and it was probably done on an ISDN line, an international standard dialing network, high quality audio line used for interviews. They would, I think, have these set up in the media rooms in all embassies in London for news reporters, etc. They probably fed the line to Abbey Road, as it would be maybe more efficient to do this then send the mixed enhanced recording to the US later. That's my guess anyway. All right, that's interesting. I mean, you could tell Richard about that, although he'll probably get angry with you. But but you could just mention to Richard maybe that's another explanation. It may not be that he's a shill and he's not real and he's at the Abbey Road studios. You could check that out. And here's Dave Yorkshire. And now Dave was in the live chat when I brought up an issue. A very serious issue with Assange, and he says here, unfortunately I had to go just before you got into the BNP membership league. The BNP, like any political party, had a broad spectrum of people, from the nicest to the nastiest individuals you could possibly meet. Many people, including myself, found Nick Griffin to be on the nasty end of the spectrum, but that's another story, and he was but one person, albeit the leader within the BNP. David, I know that there was there was a split in the BNP over Nick Griffin, and there was like this reform group that was set up, and eventually they split into a different. I think it didn't last long, but there was a short-lived party as a result. People like Andrew Bronze and Dr. James Lethwaite were absolute gentlemen, The leak itself, which was also orchestrated by expelled corrupt officials within the BNP, Matthew Single and Sadie Graham, was callous and vindictive and designed to intimidate ordinary BNP members who, of course, were genuinely anti-establishment. People's homes were attacked by the government-backed Antifa groups like Hope Not Hate and Searchlight, and members were illegally sacked from their jobs. Lest we forget, then Prime Minister Gordon Brown was a signatory to Hope Not Hate, as was his successor David Cameron, and both approved of the illegal sacking of police officers and servicemen. One has to therefore question Assange's anti-establishment credentials there. Does Assange serve as yet another fake hero for the masses, conveniently provided by the New World Order? Is this all just another bit of theatre? Right. That's a legitimate question, David, and you know, despite me criticising Richard D. Hall for jumping to that conclusion, I don't for one moment think we should not consider that conclusion. And in fact, I've given other examples. I mean, indeed, I agree with Richard and Andrew Johnson's questions over 9/11. In this case, this was WikiLeaks being involved in something which really you wonder why the hell did they do this? Why the hell did they collaborate in an attempt, and indeed a very, very successful attempt, to basically cancel, to use today's terminology, hundreds of people? And this was before cancel culture became a thing. And indeed, yes, people were essentially doxxed by what you say, expelled corrupt officials, and indeed WikiLeaks collaborated with that. And indeed, people were assaulted, they were attacked, they were demonized, and indeed lost their careers and had their livelihoods ruined simply for having a political opinion, simply being a member of a political party. Whether you agree or disagree with that party is beside the point. It is immoral and unlawful to treat people like that, and today it's happening all the time. It's happening. It's you know, you get like I only have to mention it, and you can think of examples. There was the couple who were forbidden from adopting a baby because they voted UKIP. There was like people, you know, social workers and nurses and teachers who've been threatened or even sacked because they just said, well, you know, maybe, you know, we shouldn't be calling people by different pronouns, just call people he or she. It's got far worse since then. It really, really does. And Assange collaborated in this. I think someone was saying later on he regretted this, but I don't think he's ever formally apologised. He's never retracted or he's never tried to make restitution for the damage he did to people's lives, and his organisation did. So, you've raised a good point, David, and I have to concede that maybe we should be more suspicious of Julian Assange. This doesn't mean I think it's right to extradite him or anything like that. I was never a member of that party. It doesn't affect me personally, like it does you. But yeah, it does. I've got a book here actually about this. Where's this book? I managed to get hold of this book. I don't know what you think of it. This is the National Front. I don't know if you're familiar with this book. It's an old one actually. It's written in the 70s. But that man in the middle there is Andrew Bronze. And I'm going to be that's Colin Jordan on the left there. And I don't know who that is on the right on that. That's Colin Jordan. I don't know who that guy is. But anyway, I'm going to read that and I'll let you know what I think of it. Okay. One long Boudica moment. Fetler John 4319 says, "Blimey, Ben, I have similar moments regarding the Queen Boudica experience, and whenever I come across ancestors' mortal remains in display cases, it affects me deeply. It feels improper somehow. I too have my limit on exposure to such things. Best wishes and thanks for posting." You're welcome, Fetler John. Yeah, I mean, I'm sure I'm not the only one. I mean, I know Manda Scott feels that way too, which is why she wrote those books. I've seen interviews with her talking about this, and it is as if, like Angela Kenyon was saying, it feels almost like we're experiencing or remembering a real tragedy that happened in our lives. It's like that. It really, really is. Okay. Oh, we got an old one now. This is a really, really old comment here. and it is. I've actually made a note of it here because I couldn't, because I thought it might disappear from. I thought it might disappear from YouTube, but it hasn't. Jessica B, who says here, Dan Brown used the story. This is Michael Bagent. Michael Bagent should point. This is a really old video. When did I make this? Years ago. But Michael Bagent was one of the authors of Holy Blood, Holy Grail, and he died, and I made a video about it. And Jessica B says Dan Brown used the story of this book to write the Da Vinci Code. I've heard enough that they took him to court. They did actually. Lincoln Bagent and Lee took Dan Brown to court and sued him for plagiarism. It was a bit of a. I personally think it might have been some kind of publicity stunt. I really do. I mean, the thing is, this is bound to happen to every successful author. If the Roswell trilogy ends up selling 1 million, it'll happen to me. At least a dozen people will probably come forward and claiming I stole their ideas. That's the only difference between inspiration and plagiarism, because a lot of people want to know where the line is drawn. And the line is drawn in a very simple place. Money. How many book sales do you make? And in the case, it didn't work. I mean, most of these lawsuits are initiated by these very, very envious, bitter little parasites who just can't stand the fact that someone else is more materially successful than they are. And in the case of this particular lawsuit, it didn't work out. And I think the defence is very simple. I mean, Holy Blood, Holy Grail is not fiction. So you could say Dan Brown used the story. Well, he used what story? And that story that the authors Bagent, Lee and Lincoln invented? No. Holy Blood, Holy Grail is a historical textbook. It's not fiction, is it? I mean, a lot of the skeptics think it is, but it's not. So how can you steal that idea? For example, if I wanted to write a story set on one of Lord Nelson's warships, I might read a biography of Lord Nelson and a book about the Battle of Trafalgar and things like that, and incorporate that information in those historical textbooks into the story. But would I therefore be committing plagiarism? Would I be stealing the idea of someone else? The person who wrote that book? Of course not, because they're writing a book about historical facts. I think it was some kind of like farce. Maybe they even conspired it as a publicity stunt. I mean, the judge admitted that when he published his notes and he published the court transcript, he deliberately encoded a secret message into it just for fun. Oh. Right, the Lighthouse Watch Party review. Hugo Roon says, "Me first. Wow. Well done, Hugo. Gold tinfoil hat is coming its way to you." And same video, Hugo Roon. "I am a lumberjack and I'm okay." Funny enough, the character, the word they use is timber. He says, "I was a timber." I mean, it's that weird. Again, the language is very carefully designed in the script for this. It's interesting. Same video, Neil Peel Paranormal Peep Show says, "I'm interested to watch this film and even began to watch it, but due to family commitments, meaning my other half not wanting to continue watch it, I never got to see the rest of it. This whole Lighthouse thing kicked off on New Year's Day when we visited Portland Lighthouse. As you mentioned, Ben, then one of your viewers saw our visit and set the ball rolling." That's right, Neil. Someone suggested it after watching our video there, which we made. And I know that was a kind of joint production between ourselves. There's a version of it on your channel too. But I mean, as for your other half not wanting to watch it, well, you might have to sneak off somewhere and just watch it quietly, when she's fallen asleep or something, But yeah, it was a good idea. I mean, I never really thought about this until we'd done that video. We went to Portland Lighthouse, and someone thought, yeah, that's a good idea. It's worth finishing, I think, Neil, definitely. Gary Robinson said, "I also started watching it some time ago and never finished it, so I've been meaning to go back to it for some time. I might see if I can find a 4K version." I'm sure there is one there somewhere, Gary. Yeah, and Neil's sister Gary here. "It's either watch The Lighthouse or, failing that, watch the episode of The Goodies where they had to man a lighthouse which drove them crazy. Anyone remember The Goodies? Oh, God, of course. How can I forget The Goodies? Goodies, goodies, goodies."
Will you please stop just going round in circles?
Hang on, here we go. Oh, here we go. I'll just show you a little clip of it because it'll probably get bloody copyrighted. Here we go.
The lighthouse, isn't it? Everything's round
Bill
the
Oddie.
lighthouse. Look at it. The room, carpet, chairs, windows, all round. I can't stand it much longer. Burgers, round. Meringue pie. What shape's that?
Square.
Oh, they were so good. Those two. That was such a good series. That was the Goodies. Yeah, thanks very much for that, Neil. I appreciate it. I'll have to watch more of them. The old Goodies episodes are on. They're all on YouTube. You can get them on YouTube. At least the last time I looked. Same video, the Lighthouse Watch Party review. Alan McBride says here. Sounds like a fine film, Ben. I haven't watched it, but listening to your lovely warm description review, I'd love to watch it. Sounds like my kind of movie. Talking of hard liquor, methylated spirits and coke was much cherished by street alcoholics. The coke fizzed up like a head of beer when added to the liquor. The user in Bible was blocked, steaming and buckled within seconds. I bet. Oh God, yeah. But Alan, yeah, do watch it. I'm sorry that there were spoilers in this. I did suggest that people watch it first, but yeah. These putting like alcohol-like chemicals or alcohol-based chemicals for cleaning fluid and some things like that, putting them into something and like into Coke or into tonic or into or orange juice and drinking that is, you've got to be really far gone if you're going to go to that desperation to get a drink. I mean, honestly. But they do. Like I said, this porter who did this, he poured cleaning liquid, which is alcohol-based, into some Coke and drank that, and there were some terrible alcoholics in the pouring department, I'll tell you. And of course, in this film, they drink turpentine. They mix it with honey to get rid of the taste, and then they drink that. Oh man, I mean, no wonder they die at the end. God. Yeah, and we have here UFO Disclosure 2023, waiting for the hearing. And Coda says it's all gone whoops bangy and fallopped. And with it, dashly the hope loads of the all Hatley foliage folk loaders. Oh, folly, folly. I know what that means. And unfortunately, you're right, Coda. It has dashed our hope loads. I mean, the worst thing is, I'm actually going to do a UFO disclosure video sometime within the next week because I need to get back into this. There are things to say. Even though, as I've explained, I found myself losing interest in the subject, and I know why. I know why I feel that way. It's because of the treachery of the two mics. It's because of the repeal of the Schumer Amendment. It's because of the attacks, the personal attacks on David Grush. It's all these things. It's this backlash, this reaction, which was inevitable, is bound to happen, has made me feel it's really sickened me. I mean, Ryan Robbins did this thing on Twitter the other day where he did a 10-minute rant and he's really angry. He swears, and he never swears on his YouTube channel, but he was swearing in this. It doesn't mean it's all over, and indeed I do need to get kind of back into it. I really do need to get back into it. And Coda says on one long Boudica moment, yes, Quakers Alex King's bosom, all a wobbleode breastload, kissy cuddleode under the sheebs, and deep joy in the pentaload for many sexually frustrail Romans. Oh yes, oh God, I know what that means, Coda. I'm not going to translate it. Lighthouse Watch Party. Coda says, brr, the thermaloper plummety, importanty most to avoid burstage of the water pipe loaders. All right, yes, thermaloper. I think that means thermal. And what is it? What's it? Thermal meaning. The temperature, avoided burstage of the water pipe loaders, all floodage, and soggy most to the soft furnishy, what? Oh, God. Hang on a sec, where am I? Where's my notes? Here we go. What's happened to this? Hang on. Oh, there it is, yeah. That is the, what is it, the plummetty, importantly most to avoid burstage of the water pipes, yes, all floodage and soggy most of the soft furnishy there, folly. Yes. Well, if you watch, you'll see. I mean, how they did it in the studio, I'll never know. But of course, you'll be aware that of course they have to flood the entire set because in the film, of course, the sea, a wave from the sea smashes through the windows and just fills the house with water, with seawater. Yeah. Okay, so we go. Now this is Lighthouse Watch Bit again, and this is John Beheadsome, who says here, Ben, it's obvious from what's this? Ben, it's obvious from your response to this movie that you. Oh god, this is a long comment here. Oh no. Oh, dearie me. It's obvious from your response to this movie. Oh, I knew I was going to get one of these. That you have a very romanticised and idealistic vision of pre-Roman Britain. Perhaps you should consider the facts gathered by more of those more level-headed and knowledgeable about the era than you. The Celtic Iron Age was a lawless, brutal era in which average life expectancy was barely half that of the Roman period. Ritual human sacrifice was... Oh God, I'm not going to read all this. Oh, dearie me. I knew this would happen. I just knew it. I knew that... I mean, you get... How do I... What's all this about? Okay. You always get this, right? You get... Whenever you get these posers, there's a certain type of poser who just loves to get all very matter of fact when other people get worked up about something. Oh, I see. Here's a guy getting very emotional. Allow me to insert myself into this situation here and pour some some of my cold water of logic onto your ardor. You always get these people. I mean, he doesn't want to make a point. This guy. He's written. I think some of this is cut and pasted. He's written a long diatribe here and with some facts about Celtic Britain, etc. And in a sense, he's now what he's doing, and I dispute this. I want to say to this person, I am not that kind of I'm not who you think I am. I mean, you got me. What you're trying to do is you're trying to strawman me and marginalise me because of my reaction to this Boudica movie. You are now strawmanning and you are marginalising me as some kind of wide-eyed Rousseauian, you know. And I am not. All right. I know very, very. And in fact, I bloody said it in the video. I think I actually said this in the damn video, but you've ignored that fact because you want to paint me a certain way. You want to like come over. You want to strut in, you know, with your chest out and you're looking down your nose and saying, "Oh, my logical self is now going to come into this, and I'm going to now spread a little bit of facts and information here." Well, when you are mopping, you're wiping your eyes and snivelling over the pre-Celtic Britain and stuff like that. I'm now going to pre-Roman Britain. I'm now going to just explain a few things to you, to tell you a few home truths, because I'm so superior to you. What a poser, John Cumpy Locky, whatever your name is. You poser. You total arrogant. You're one of these people who looks for these situations just so you can feel better about yourself and make out you're better than other people. I know your type. I know your type very well. But now, I actually said in the video, I actually stated that I did not believe that the post-Illuminati world would be some kind of utopia. I actually said that. I've said many times that I am not a utopian. I don't. In fact, during that, I believe that the immediate post-Illuminati world is going to be a bloody awful place to live in. It's going to be hell on earth for a good few years because we're going to have to transition. I also stated that it's almost obvious that for that very reason I also state that the pre-Illuminati world was not some kind of utopia. I've said in one of my videos, I don't know how many of my videos you've watched, but I talk quite openly about the bodies found buried at Stonehenge. About the fact there are thousands of bodies buried there that appear to have died as the products of violence, as if there was some kind of battle there, or mass human sacrifice. And these bodies date back to about the time the monument was constructed, the main project. I mean, Maria Wheatley explains how it was built in several phases over several millennia, but the most important part was, like, I think in the 22nd or 23rd century BC. This is pre-Illuminati Britain. This is actually before the Celts, before the Iron Age. And yet, this battles and human sacrifice goes on. And I never once said that's not true. Never. But there's a particular kind of evil associated with Illuminati rule that is absent in those circumstances. So, for example, in the hill forts, I mentioned the hill fort that's near Oxford, Whitnam Clumps. There was a battle fought there several centuries before the Roman conquest, and there were numerous bodies that have actually been dug up there. People who have had like fractured skulls. They've clearly been they've had injuries to their necks caused by attempts at beheading. There's several people who have been beheaded, things like that. There's people with arrow wounds and spear wounds in them, things like that. A big battle was fought there between these two pre-Illuminati tribes. But there's a fact about that particular find which lights up the. I think it lights up the pre-Illuminati world like a bolt of lightning, and says so. It says as much as a poem or a book. All the people killed were adult males. This does indicate that there was some kind of code of conduct, some kind of a sense of chivalry and honour, which you don't find in Illuminati societies. What you'd have once the Romans invaded, you would have like mass crucifixions, sexual violence, children cut in half, things like that, which you don't see in this battlefield. Okay, so your attempts to lord it over me have failed, Mr. John Godlodika, whatever you're called. All right, let's move on. Carlson versus Putin livestream, part 1 of 2. We have here Coda, Vaseline Putloader, Vaseline Putloader. As this Vladimir Putin is an angry pygmy runtage, all compensale for his withery pentilode, just like Bonish Mapiltoad, son Napoleon Bonaparte. Yeah, the withery the pentilode thing. Yes, I know what that means now. Short one. All right, this is my latest video, which I uploaded last night. I mean, some of you are aware of this. I mean, yeah. But Coda says, first common trail. Oh, well done, Coda. Congratulations. Gold tinfoil hatty load is on its way to Yuzi. Deep joy. Yeah, as you know, in the previous comment reply video, we talked about the possibility of me making YouTube shorts, because lots of other channels do have shorts, and so I thought I would try it myself. And someone suggested it would increase the profile of my channel and the visibility of it in the face of all my shadow banning. I thought it was a good idea, and I thought I'd try that. But as you know from when I did upload it, and I did that yesterday, I thought it would. What happens is I thought it would become like a short, like that you have like shorts on a separate list, and they're a different type of frame and they're a different type of video. But it didn't. It just turned up as a normal video. It ended up like a normal video, which I thought was strange, because if you're familiar with the PC interface on YouTube, it actually has like you can upload. It has like various uploading modes, and one of them is like just upload a video. The other is create a live stream, and then there's a separate tab for shorts. So you click on the tab for shorts, and it's like, and you just said please upload some material, which I tried to do several times, and it didn't work. It just, when it uploaded, but it uploaded as a normal video, and I don't know why that is. And several people have left comments, very helpful comments, which I'll go into now. But I'll see what I can do. Anyway, I've decided to leave it there so people can watch it, and I'll try and solve this problem as time goes on. So Jamnoy72, she said you have to use hashtag shorts when you upload from your PC, bro. If uploading a short from your phone, make sure you click short and not video. And I said thanks very much. Yeah, I mean I think it's different if you're uploading from your phone or from your PC. I might have to upload something from my phone. I might just have to log in and upload from my phone if the worst comes to the worst. But I think you can upload shorts from your PC, because there is, like I said, there's a shorts tab. There's a special function specifically for uploading shorts on the interface, on the PC interface. As for using hashtag shorts, I mean, I tried doing that, Jackie. I actually put hashtag shorts. I tried re-uploading with hashtag shorts in the title, in the description box, and in the tags, and it made no difference. To me, I did wonder actually why that should be. I mean, if you are on the PC interface, they've got a tab which says shorts. You click on it, and you assume you're going to upload a short. That's the whole purpose of it. Unless this is another example of YouTube being ridiculously user unfriendly. Because of course YouTube is. You know, as a sophisticated, high-budget international platform, it is one of the most difficult and really abrasive and obtrusive kinds of websites I've ever come across. But I'll see how it goes anyway. I tried doing what you said, Jackie, but it didn't work. Maybe if you do it from your phone, maybe that works on your phone, but doesn't work on the PC. I'll let you know how I get on. David Yorkshire says on short one, on location in Bermuda? Question mark. What do you mean on location in Bermuda? Why is there a triangle there, David? Are there ships sinking in it or something? What do you mean? Same video. Coda says here, who is the lumpy upload? All stand it 2 square in the Polareeks shortage there. Oh right, Coda. It is your humbly load servantode. It is the humbly bocus of myself. That's what it is. And then Crafty Nihilist comes in on short one and says, Ben, you have to upload as a short, not a video. And I know, and I says, yeah, I did. Apparently I have to add a hashtag. Now, I tried adding the hashtag as Jamnoy suggested, and that didn't work either. So, anyway, I put up a pinned comment. I put up a pinned comment just to let people know, and it just said this. I am aware that this short has just appeared as a normal video on my normal list, despite me specifically uploading it as such. The YouTube PC interface does have a shorts upload page. I don't know why this has happened, but I'll try to sort it out. In the meantime, I will leave this upload in place. Okay, so I'll see how that goes anyway. I'll keep working on it. Gary Robinson says, congrats on your first YouTube short, mate. Glad to see you're on it. Yeah, I think it was your idea, Gary. You recommended it, so I thought I'd try it. Definitely. Our final YouTube comment here. Gary Robinson says, Ben, mate, this is totally off topic, but I was wondering if you had seen the latest upload from Veritas in which they interview the ex-US Navy guy who went to the remote villages in Peru to interview the people about the supposed ET encounters in the Amazon. If not, you really must go and check it out, as he details his interviews with the people of the village, and their accounts are quite shocking. Cheers. Right, that's on the Lighthouse Watch Party review. I know who you're talking about, Gary. I think you're talking about Timothy Alberino. And I haven't seen the Veritas interview, but I've seen several other interviews that he's done, and they are extraordinary. We're talking here about this strange incident in this little village in Peru where apparently flying aliens were seen going around, and it's quite alarming actually, because they actually captured a couple of the people and they actually injured them very badly. This has been put down apparently to illegal miners terrorizing villages, and I've explained on, I think I explained on a previous video why that can't possibly be the case. It doesn't fit at all. But anyway, Timothy Alberino, yeah. The thing about Timothy Alberino is that he not only went back there to visit, he actually used to live in that region. He actually lived in that part of Peru, so it's very interesting indeed. Okay, guys, we've still got 12 minutes to go on the second hour, and I'm already going over to Alt Tech. I don't think we'll get this inside 2 hours. I don't think that's likely, but it doesn't mean I might end up with a much shorter video, maybe my shortest ever reply to comments video. So I'll go here to reply to comments 91 on BitChute. And we have here discuss the video. No comments. One long Boudica moment. Discuss the video. No comments. Assange extradition hearing live stream. Discuss the video. There's bound to be someone
It's like
here.
I woke up in the insane asylum and the patients.
Oh, God. Getting ads now on BitChute.
Like I said,
no comments.
Stupidity.
So that's an ad there. And finally, the Lighthouse Watch Party review.
I am going to disclose
No comments.
something that is...
No comments. Okay, that's an ad. You're just hearing an ad there. So no comments at all on my most recent uploads. Well, let's just check out the upload list, as always when I do these. So I'll just scroll down and see if I've got anything on there. Because it could be someone has posted a comment on an old video. Because I have had a couple of comments on old videos on YouTube, I noticed, which is quite interesting. So of course I get notifications from the other channels that I follow on BitChute. Oh, we have here, what's this? I don't think this is my video. What's this? Oh no, this is Jeremy Poole.
1995, the rotation of the Earth itself suddenly changed.
Yeah.
We can see that something really changed after that. That's when everything went.
This is Jeremy Poole. I know I've interviewed Jeremy a couple of times actually, and he's just replied to a comment I put in about Neil Oliver was talking to John Campbell about you know what, the people dying and what might be causing it, and you can't even talk about what might be causing it. It's okay. So that's Jeremy Poole's channel though, not mine. So it doesn't come under reply to comments. Scrolling down we go. Yeah, thank goodness for BitChute. What would you do without BitChute? I wonder where they've moved their offices. As I said, I went to BitChute's offices. Do you remember the video I made with another blonde? Well, we went to the offices of YouTube. It was incredible. And that's it. Right, so that's everything. Yes, that's the end. So I'll go back up to the top. I will click mark all as read. That's it. It'll appear at some point. Okay, so I'll go to Odyssey. Now the good thing about Odyssey, of course, is its notification system is actually. I get fewer comments on. I'll just delete all there. On that's BitChute done. The notification system is fairly simple because you can actually select comments from the other types of notifications. So you can actually get like. You can get like. So I've got all the notifications here, and you just scroll down till you get to the last one you said. So we got a comment on an old movie, an old video called Apollo Detectives 10 Debunking the Debunkers. Now I knew this would trigger a few people, and if you're bound to get. Of course, the YouTube version of this had no end of comments, no end. Okay, just gotta. There we go. So I'll just click pause on that. Paul Loveless. I hope you don't live up to your name. I've got two comments from Paul Loveless on here. One of them, I'll go to the longest one first. The amount of incorrect facts presented here is embarrassing to your cause. The person who took with the hat took over the stream, and clearly has no idea what he's talking about. Who's that? The person with the hat. It's just, I can't remember. This was like years ago I did this one. Who's this? Is it? I'm just checking the video now to see who it is, because who wears a hat in the Apollo Detectives? Was it me?
It's a lot of facts and figures in that for anyone that knows a lot about radiation.
So it's Raza.
It's worth looking at if anyone wants to follow that up.
Yeah, it's Raza.
He's a carpenter.
There.
Who does?
You see him at the bottom right?
To play with rockets in his free
it's
time.
probably going to be. You'll probably get a better picture of him
the
here.
whole point is
there, see, the person with the hat is Raza Vihari. All right.
The Apollo mission was essentially planned.
Pause. So what he's saying is that the person with the hat took over the stream and clearly has no idea what he's talking about. All right. The person with the hat was basically the guy doing. He was the main subject of this particular video. Our Apollo Detectives videos do often feature a single person who's doing a presentation. In this case, it was Dr. Vihari. And what do you mean he clearly has no idea what he's talking about? Anyway, are you going to do what Mr. Bland, who's very bland indeed, wouldn't do? That is, actually tell me why you think as you do, and not fill me with rhetoric and fill the entire screen with rhetoric about embarrassing and uninformed and all these other stupid buzzwords. Let's just read on, shall we? Hubble has been serviced 5 times. Oh my goodness me, we have an axiom. We actually have a point. Paul Loveless, congratulations, you're actually making a point. It may be incorrect, but it's still a point. At least you're trying. When he confidently talks about new materials being used in the Concorde, I was completely embarrassed for him. Again, is that true or false? Were new materials used in Concorde? Concorde was a state-of-the-art new innovation. It was an incredible piece of engineering, actually. It was a supersonic airliner. There's no other aircraft that could reach the speeds that it did and sustain them. There's lots of new material put in Concorde. Another point, he goes on and on about non-ionizing radiation, yet he clearly has no elementary knowledge of physics. The only way non-ionizing radiation can hurt you is by the way of RF burns. There are no radio-emitting point sources of energy in space that can burn you. Well, I think the sun is one of them, isn't it? Anyway, I don't know exactly what the answer is to what you've raised here, Paul. I don't. But I think you're wrong about the Concorde, certainly. Hubble was serviced 5 times. Did he state that was not the case? Sure, I mean, I can run that past Raza Vihari and see what he has to say about it. Anyway, that's the first paragraph. Here's the second one. I'm a licensed radio ham operator. We absolutely know where the signal is coming from by using highly directional antennas. He could only record 35 minutes because he only had the line of sight for that time. Do the math without an S. Next, at the frequencies involved, 2 GHz, the radio signals do not scatter. And again, we absolutely can know if the ship is coming or going by looking at the trend of the received power signal. The whole argument about Doppler radar and spoofing communications are unrelated to each other and just demonstrates how desperate his arguments are. Alright, Paul. I don't actually know for certain. I don't have an answer to the points you've just made. I really don't. It could be you are right. In which case, the Apollo Detectives is a show that does address our detractors. We've even interviewed Blue Earth Thing, who's an Apollo believer. He's a skeptic of the whole conspiracy theory. So, but I mean, and indeed, we interviewed Steve Mumbling, who's actually a far more radical version of that skeptic. So, we are open to discussion from our detractors. So, by all means, I know for a fact that Neil, the producer of the show, watches this program. So I'll ask him to check these things out. And indeed, I know Raza and the others. I can talk to them about it too. So, well, you may be right. In which case, thanks very much for letting us know. All right, and here's a second reply he's put on this same video, Paul Lovelace, and I'll just put a few random letters after it because, as you know, on Odyssey you cannot post the same comment twice. You have to make it a little bit different on the same video. Paul Lovelace says the SpaceX suits are removed after launch. Right. Well, obviously they do take off some of their, but they have something underneath, don't they? They have this thing underneath. I mean, what's the context for that comment? I don't quite understand. So anyway, Paul Lovelace, thank you for your comments. And we have here now, oh, that's right. We have one long Boudica moment and Sibiant Dreams. Who says here, now, Sibiant Dreams always produces very good Odyssey comments and says here, I read your review. I was referring to this earlier. There's someone who read my original review. I read your review of Manda Scott's book on HPANWO after watching this. I still don't understand why you conflate the Romans and the Illuminati. Because they were occupied by the Illuminati, and pre-Christian Rome was a religiously tolerant society, as were for the most part the other ancient empires. The Romans were disinterested in religion unless and until it became a threat to Roman power. That's why they destroyed the Second Temple in Jerusalem, and it may have been why they persecuted the Druids, who seem to have had both a civic and spiritual remit. The Druids themselves left no written records, so we don't have their side of the story, only biased accounts by Roman scholars and later Christianized Celts. That's true. In fact, I believe that the Romans persecuted the Druids. It had an awful lot to do with the gold trade as well, because the Druids were controlling the gold trade, on which Rome was dependent. Long before the conquest, Rome and Britain were important parts of Rome's trading empire, and a lot of the gold that the Romans used came from Ireland, which was never part of the empire, but it was vital to the Roman economy, and the Druids were essentially controlling that flow. That may be why it was. Sibian Dreams carries on. Hollywood and popular culture fall over themselves to present ancient Rome as peculiarly cruel, sick and twisted. Yeah, I mean, to be fair, Sibian Dreams, films like Ben-Hur and Spartacus do that, yeah. But sad to say, there's no real evidence for thinking its institutionalised cruelty surpassed that of other empires that came and before afterwards. Well, yeah, this is a point made by that poser who turned up on YouTube, John Kabigi, whatever his name was. There is evidence in the sense that I mentioned the battlefield near Oxford. There is evidence that there was a difference in ethos, which you often find between Illuminati and pre-Illuminati society. Oh, that's the end. That's the end of hour 2. Between Illuminati and pre-Illuminati societies. However, as I said, the Romans were unique certainly in the scale, not necessarily the severity in most cases. But despite that, there is this qualitative issue that I was talking about. Anyway, he carries on. I'll just finish this. I'll just finish this before we move on to the next hour. Arguably, the Illuminati destroyed the Roman Empire by Christianizing it. This extended state control to the level of the individual conscience. It mind-fucked the populace with total religious conformity, introducing notions like sin, hell, salvation, and damnation. Any amount of barbarism could then be justified against those who were pagan, heathen, or in opposition to God. Right, you could have a point, Sibian Dreams, because there's no doubt that the Roman Empire was replaced by the Roman Church, the Roman Catholic Church. And there's evidence to suggest that one was kind of a continuation of the other. Well, there was the Roman Catholic, and then, of course, there was the Byzantine Church, which became Orthodox. But, of course, the official language of Roman Catholicism to this day is Latin. And indeed, the Church entered areas and went to extremes in terms of geography that the Roman Empire never did. So, for example, they successfully took over Scotland and Ireland, and indeed, 1,000 years later, they took over the New World with the conquistadors, Cortez, Pizarro, etc. So you may have a point here, but the actual status as Rome, the Roman Republic, and the Roman Empire as Illuminati occupied is a long and complicated issue. I don't have time to go into it here, I'm afraid. I don't. And indeed, I don't have the information to hand right now. I'm sorry about that. But anyway, it's a good subject for another video, perhaps. So that's the end of hour number 2. Okay, we are into hour number 3. Now, I'm not going to bother to use the clock because I know that I'll be finished before the end of this particular this segment. What's the word? I will finish this particular comment reply video before the next hour. But anyway, I should just go back to notifications and just have one more check here. And yeah, I think that's... Oh, Sibian Dreams doesn't know. Sibian Dreams has actually posted on Reply to Comments 91 here. Let's have a look. It's quite a long... It's quite a long comment here. But let's see what they say. Let's see what he or she says. I think it's a he. Some points in response to your replies on the Carlson Putin videos. Putin's long monologue at the start of the interview was an effective argument for the non-existence of Ukraine as an independent country. You may well have been. I mean, in his article, Sibian Dreams, he does actually accept that the Ukraine is a sovereign nation, but he believes it should always be a Russian allied one. Number 2, since 2014, Ukraine has been under NATO occupation and at this point is completely dependent on the West. Any peace deal with NATO, even with modified borders, will leave a rump Ukraine still governed by a NATO stooge and hostile to Russia. No Yanukovych-style Russia-compliant regime will ever be installed in Kiev unless the entire territory is occupied and the zombie cokehead puppets driven out by force. They ain't going to leave voluntarily. Correct. I mean, that is basically, as Putin explains in his article as well, this is what he wants to do. This is the whole previous decade has been about that. Number 3, the special military operation has not even fully liberated the Donetsk regions. It's still partly occupied by NATO and Donetsk city is being shelled. Of the 5 Ukrainian regions formerly annexed by Russia since 2014, only Lugansk and Crimea have been fully liberated. Right, I didn't know that. I see. There's several different sources for the war and what's going on. There's the mainstream one, and then there's like lots of alternative ones. a lot of the alternatives ones are basically saying game over and Russia's won. But if that's not true, well, so be it. Obviously, I hope they do. I hope they achieve the goals of liberating Donbass and securing the biological warfare laboratories and the Chernobyl disaster site. Number 4. NATO policymakers are on record brazenly calling for A. regime change in Russia, B. inflammation of ethnic tensions in Russia, C. consequent on B. the balkanizing Russia, breaking it up into smaller states, perhaps along ethnic lines, following the example of Yugoslavia. Brackets, Ukraine is cited as a necessary first step to doing this, close brackets. Yeah, basically. That's what they're planning to do. Putin can reasonably argue that Russia is fighting for its life against implacable opponents actively seeking war, but his responses understate the situation. Yeah, I mean, to quote Putin in his article, NATO has a knife pressed against our throat. That's what he said. Number 5. Yes, Putin could deliver UFO disclosure, but obviously chooses not to. He chooses not to for the same reason that Biden, Xi, Modi and Netanyahu choose not to. They are all globalists who can be brought to heel by the same master, and that's one issue on which the master has decided he needs to have complete control of the narrative. Well, the master certainly has decided that, but I mean the other people you mentioned I don't include, but Russia, I don't believe that. So I don't believe that Biden, he says I don't believe that Putin is choosing to do this for the same reasons, because I don't believe he's a globalist in the same way that the rest of them are. I really don't think that's the case. Okay, so I think that should be Odyssey done now. Let's have a look. Cassibian Dreams has, with his comments here, or his comments, I think that's actually all done now. Yeah, the other one was 20 days ago, so that doesn't include. Okay, so that's Odyssey done. So thanks for the comments on there, Paul Lovelace and Sibian Dreams, much appreciated. And now I'm going to go to Rumble. That's Rumble here. So go to my notifications on Rumble. Loading your notifications. Okay, so we have here Assange extradition hearing live stream, and we have. Green Tea. Hello, Green Tea. How are you? All right. No, Green Tea and Google Gowie. Yeah. Now I've got to be careful posting the comments here because bloody Rumble won't even allow me to post the same comment on the entire platform. So when I post my reply to comments notice, my comment reply notice, I can't even actually reply. I can't reply. I have to add loads and loads of random text afterwards just so I can post it. But Green Tea, so is Green Tea the same Green Tea who's a crafty nihilist who takes part in the quiz? RFK Jr., the attorney and author of The Real Anthony Fauci. Yeah, I've read that. That's good. V and Unv and the Wuhan cover-up, all three of which I recommend, has started a petition to free Assange on his Kennedy 24 website, but he needs signatures. He's also pledged to free Assange day one if elected president. RFK has already filed a suit against the Biden administration and testified before Congress regarding censorship and free speech. If you'd like a link to the petition, I'd be happy to post it. And Gulgawi says, please post it. And he does here, Green Tea. It's www.kennedy for kennedy24.com/Assange petition. So I'll put in a text reply to avoid any more nonsense. I'll just say thanks Green Tea. Thanks Green Tea. There we are. So that's it. So and then Gulgawi's deleted 2 other comments on there. Okay, so now I'll just carry on down here. There's right, that's someone's posting here on. I put a comment on infinite energy, but not for the masses. That's an Andrew Johnson video. Right, we've got an old comment here. Harry and Meghan. My goodness me, this is an old video here. And I've got a comment by someone called Yoys Trump 1203. And there's some laughter emojis, and he said, long term. Let's just put my reply here. Okay, so random text. Long term. I don't know what that means. 3 laughter emojis on long term, and that's on Harry and Meghan. That's the video. That's a video I posted long ago. We have Green Tea who commented on my Valentine's Day live stream. Let's have a look. Green Tea says here, Someone posted this older audio today. I've only listened to a brief few minutes, so I have no opinion on it, but I thought some of your viewers who are interested in history might appreciate it. If someone does listen, I'd very be interested in their opinion. Please feel free to delete this comment if you do not find it to your presence. Oh, no, I'm not going to delete it. I'm not going to delete it, mate. Anyway, here we go. So, here we go. So I'll post that there. This is rumble.com / alright, this is... Okay, I'm just going to put this into another tab. Yeah. This is this video here. I'll just show it to you. Right, there we go. Illuminati, Myron C. Fagan. The Illuminati and the CFR, 1967 audio, The Great Conspiracy. All right. Oh, this is really old. This is, like I say, 1967. It's really long as well. It's over 4 hours. But thanks very much. No, of course not. Of course I'm not. I'm going to leave that there. By all means, green tea. By all means. Let me just get this back on my clipboard. So thank you very much for that comment, green tea. Much appreciated. We'll scroll down a bit further. Oh, the X series commented on Carlson versus Putin. This is maybe one I've already replied to. The X series, let's have a look. I think I have replied here. Yeah, I replied to that. Gulgawi, still bouncing about. X series, right. Hello, X series. Oh, and I did comment. I did reply to X series here, so thank you very much, X series. So that's Rumble done. That's all the Rumble notifications there, so that goes back to before the before the last comment reply video. So that's all the Rumble notifications that have been that's all the Rumble comments that have been posted since the last reply to comments video. So it's just now. Oh, TikTok. Yeah, I've got to go to TikTok. Where's my? Oh, here we are. Right. Have I got? Let's have a look at my TikTok inbox. Right, and my TikTok notifications. And I've had no comments on TikTok at all. Some people have liked a couple of my videos, but I've had no replies to any of the comments because I did remember TikTok at that time. So the next thing to do is I'll just go back to YouTube and see if I've had any comments posted since I started recording this particular video over 2 hours ago. So let's have a look here. So I'll go to YouTube. Oh, I've had 5 notifications, but what are they? They're just videos, I think. Alright, the last comment was, it was Gary Robinson talking about the Veritas interview. Right, you are. That's it. So that's it. Yeah, that is the end of this particular. So it's just I've just been going for 10 minutes. That's actually a very long. That's actually a very short. This is going to be a very short reply to comments video. But anyway, thank you very much for all your comments. They were very interesting. Even though some of them were rude and obnoxious, even they were quite fun to reply to. So I could just tell you what I thought of you. For everyone else, thank you very much for all your comments that you posted on this and for watching. It's obvious, but this video wouldn't happen if you didn't write those comments. So thank you very much indeed. What's coming up this week? Well, I'm going to do I'm going to finally do a UFO Disclosure 2024 video. I need to say a few things about that because there are things to be said despite this awful bloody impasse we're stuck in at the moment. Really, really frustrating, but I'm going to say a few things. Also, of course, this Friday, some of you may remember me talking about this, it is the 10th anniversary of the disappearance of MH370, so there is going to be a video and or stroke live stream about that. So please do stay tuned for that. But in the meantime, thank you all of you for watching this reply to comments video, the 92nd one. I am Ben Emlyn-Jones, and thank you for watching HPANWO TV. Hospital reporters, pride and dignity. Stop the New World Order.
Conspiracies, government cover-ups, Earth mysteries, monster cryptids, psyops, saucers and black triangles, HPANWO.